actually talk.
Excellent. So I just tried a new thing with setting the recording up, so I missed our first little introduction, but that's okay. People joining us on this will get right in on the Coaches KickStart Club call. Okay, so we are going to talk about what, Care? Control and
letting go.
Awesome. So this is a really interesting topic, and so we're going to have you guys play along with us. We're going to have an interesting, hopefully, video for you to be able to watch. And then we're going to take you through how do you coach people on letting go. And when our clients hold on so tight to the things that they deem important, but yet is causing them a lot of grief. So here's what we want to do to get you guys started. We want you to think about what is one thing that you know if you would let go of it, it would actually improve your life, but you're still hanging on. So what is one thing that you think you would love to learn how to let go? You can type it into the chat if you would like. You can, that's probably the best way to do it. So think about that. If there's one thing that you could let go of that would improve your life, what would that one thing be? We'll give you a moment to think about it. Anybody want to type it into us? Let us know what it is. That'd be absolutely fantastic. But we're going to definitely come back to this later on so that you can also apply what you're learning about coaching of letting go to be able to help yourself with this as well. I love it. So we have one comment here. If I could let go of FOMO, which stands for fear of missing out, watching other people's businesses thrive and feeling like I'm missing out. So I'm going to say let go of the comparison that happens and the fear of missing out. Another one comes in, let go of control of my teen son. That's a good one because you still have to be a good parent, but then how do you let go of control? That's a real tricky one, right, Kara?
I would imagine so. Yes. Yeah. Big time.
Yeah. Okay. We have another person type in here that says the need to be excellent. If I could just lower my standards, I could move forward more quickly. That's interesting.
That's, yeah. I would love, yeah, that's got me thinking, right? So you actually, Jen, remember when you had this whole conversation in your head about expectations and lowering your standards, and then I was like, yeah, no.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because do we really need to lower our standards, right? So, Charity, my question to you is going to be, in what ways does the need to be excellent get in your way? Right? So, yeah, that's fascinating. I love that. Wendy writes in, let go of fear of asking clients to pay me what I'm worth. What am I worth? So, okay, letting go of that fear that comes with it.
And you know, Jen, just kind of going back to the question from Charity, it's the, if you could lower your standards, I would love a different question. So, and this is about, you're going to get the answers for yourself. I'm trying to think how I want to say this. You're going to get the answers to the questions you ask yourself. So if you're sitting here going, how can I lower my standards? How can I lower my standards? What's going to happen? You're going to lower your standards, maybe, but then are you happy that you're lowering your standards? But if you change that question and say, how can I let go of expectations? In what ways can I let go of expectations? And then you don't have to worry then about lowering your standards, and you can still move forward. So just pay attention to the questions you ask yourself.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, Carrie, you ready to show our video?
Yeah, I think so, Jen. And it's good because I think we're going to get some more people down, and we've got enough people on that we could start to get the video going. But make sure, everybody, that you have the answer written down, or if you're driving, you know, that it's in your head about what's the thing that if you let go of, it'd be a game changer for you.
All right. So as you're thinking that, we're going to go ahead and share the screen and share a little bit of video.
This is fun.
Hold on one second. I just have to. Sorry, I've never really done this before. Here we go. And
Welcome to the Get Real Leadership video series. I'm Jen Barley.
And I'm Karen Sullivan. And in today's video, what we're going to talk about is control and letting go. We're going to teach you how to catch a monkey. Yes, we're going to teach you how to catch a monkey today. We're going to show you what a banana really is and how to let go of it.
So here's how you catch a monkey. You need a basket, a lid with a hole just large enough for the monkey to stick her hand into, and a banana. Firmly attach the basket to something that doesn't move. Inside of the basket, place the banana, attach the lid, and wait. The monkey will come and put her hand through the lid in order to grasp the banana. But guess what? The hole is not big enough for the monkey's hand to fit through when she has a banana in her fist. So there she is. Her captors are coming. She has her hand in the lid of the basket, holding on to the banana. All she has to do is to let go of the banana in order to be free of the trap. And as amazing as it seems, the monkey will not let go of the banana, even in the face of being captured. Even though there's a jungle full of bananas, they're holding on to this one that will end to them losing their freedom. Now, not many of us really need or really want to catch monkeys, so what's the point? In the same way as a monkey holds onto his banana and gets trapped, we sometimes hang on to our problems and attitudes. Those attitudes that cloud our perspective, attitudes that alter our actions, and we won't let go of them, even when it would be in our best interest to do so. So just like the monkey holds onto the banana, sometimes we cling to beliefs, feelings, or behaviors that prevent us from being free and getting where we want. It's easy to see that the monkey should just let go of the banana, but it's not so easy to see what we ourselves need to release.
And when you think about that, right, holding on to the banana is really a metaphor. It's holding on to a lot of different things. It could be holding on to expectations. It could be holding on to anger, to blame, to being right. Sometimes it's about hope. Sometimes it's about holding on to guilt and old stories. And it's even asking yourself, right, who would you be if you let that story go? Because sometimes we're so wrapped up in our story, it becomes who we are. So when you feel out of control, or you're holding on too tightly to control, what's the banana that's really in your hand?
So it's time to take a look at the banana you might be holding. Here's a couple of questions. What are you holding on to that is really no longer serving you? What's it costing you to keep holding on? And then think, what else is it costing you to keep holding on? What would it take to let go? What are you worried will happen if you do let it go? What would be different if you did let it go?
So letting go of your banana really starts with you. It's going to take one thing, and that one thing is one bold action, one brave decision, one limitless vision, one great question, one new idea, one burning desire, or one real act of kindness. If you think about it, right, if you just let go, you could be at peace. You could move forward. You could repair relationships. You could find more time. You could reduce your stress, and you could really increase your happiness.
So what can you do? Make a list of your bananas. Decide what or whom you're no longer willing to accept. Be willing to get into the pain of changing your destiny. Make tough decisions. Embrace the consequences of your decisions. Be totally honest with yourself and others. And if you need help letting go of your banana, ask for it.
Remember, you only grow when you let go.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and ending. All right, perfect. So, whoops. I need to turn that music off. There we go. Excellent. Excellent. So you only grow when you let go. How beautiful is that, Karen Sullivan?
I freaking love it.
I know, that's fun. We actually did a series of these kinds of videos, and we were like, how can we use them? And when we were talking about this call yesterday, we're like, oh my God, let's show the monkey video because it's fun, it's informative, and it really gives you the concept. And we love that monkey story. So whatever you guys wrote down as what are you holding on to is your banana. Right? So it could be the banana of expectations. It could be the banana of FOMO. It can be the banana of comparison. It could be the banana of feeling the pressure of time and not being in the present moment. That one came in from Sylvan while we were watching the video. So it's really, the banana could be trying to control your son, right? Now, it doesn't mean that you don't parent, but it's how do you start to have a new relationship with it? Right, Kara?
Yeah, and I think that's what's the big part about this, right, Jen, is what's the perspective that actually needs to shift. And a big part of it is, okay, great, we want to let go, we want to let go, we want to let go. But I think that's the putting the cart before the horse thing that I was talking about. And I think what we really need to make sure that we start to pay attention to and ask the question is, why are we hanging on? And we're not going to be able to let go until we can dig a little bit deeper and say, great, what are the reasons? And even making a list of the reasons of why we're actually holding on.
Exactly. There's a payoff to everything. And so when we're coaching our clients is understanding what is the benefit of holding on to the banana. What is the reason that it's so attractive that even if it causes us pain or sadness or guilt or negatively associated emotions, even though we experience that, it's still more important to hang on to it. And it's understanding what is your client's relationship with their banana so that we can figure out the best way to get a better understanding of what it is, to figure out non-banana ways to be able to get the same benefit. Right, Karen?
Yes. How about if we, actually, before we jump into some questions and different things like that, why don't we get some thoughts or some things that are spinning around in people's heads?
Awesome. So you guys know the drill. You can type it into chat. We're right here to be able to read those. Or you can even raise your hand. We'll pull you over to be able to talk to us. You do not need to have your video on. You can actually stop the video. If you want to be on video, that's fine as well. So go ahead and raise your hand or type in what are your thoughts, questions, etc. so far? Give them time to think. Few people like the video.
I know.
I love our little video.
I know you do.
It was fun making it.
It was fun making it.
Questions, thoughts so far? Let me, and I'm going to throw out one other question to get you guys thinking. So as you wrote down what your banana is, what did you just learn about your banana after watching that video? What did you learn about your relationship with it? What was maybe an aha or an insight? It could even be what freedom are you truly missing out of by holding onto that banana in that jungle? All right, so yes, Amy, you don't have to have that fear, right? So whatever it is that you're holding on to, what it makes you realize is no, you don't have to, right? That fear of letting go doesn't have to exist. So sometimes when we are working with our clients, it's sometimes the fear of letting go and what does that actually mean seems more overwhelming than the fear itself.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Oh, I was hoping to get some more excitement.
It's a quiet group today, Jen.
It is a quiet group today. No, I had some little goofy stuff with canceling some Kickstart meetings out in 2020 or something that I hope didn't make people think these We're canceled. Okay, good. Now we're getting the things coming in. Claire says, I love that we are being clear with our clients that growing pains are completely normal. Exactly. Rena says, I bumped into my own banana. Janny says, it was stunning to see how obvious it was that the monkey needed to let go, yet so hard for me / our clients to see the obvious. What's all that about? Karen, why don't you talk a little bit about spinach?
And you know what, it's funny that this is one of the biggest things, right? It's that so many things are so obvious to other people. And I always say that you can't see the spinach in your own teeth. So sometimes we have to look at something a little different. Sometimes we have to have somebody tell us, hey, you got some spinach in your teeth. Sometimes we need to look in the mirror, but we've got to figure out we got to look at it. We got to understand that it's there. Before we can actually do something about it.
I love when you say that. All right, Sylvan, we're bringing you on over. And here she comes. She raised her hand. There you are. Let me unmute you. Oh, this is great. I feel like we're in St. Louis eating sushi. Hold on one second.
I have actually, Jen, a very funny story about that really quickly, if I can tell it.
Yes.
So my brother started dating someone. He brought her over. We have dinner here with my dad every Sunday. He brought her here. And as I started talking to her, I was like, wait, where do you work? She was the one that did not know that soy was in the miso soup. Do you remember her?
I do.
I'm like, oh, I have to tell Jen this someday. Okay. So anyway, they've broken up and he's dating somebody new. So what I got out of it is, first of all, it was really hard for me to write down any banana, because I'm like, well, I deal with everything right away. I'm this, perfect person, right? I mean, we all kind of think that about ourselves. And then I'm like, okay, now I have to get real. Like, what am I doing? So that I picked the one about hanging on or getting anxious about what's coming and not enjoying the moment I'm in. And when I watched the banana video, what came up for me is, I think for me, I fall in love with my banana. And I want to keep that. Like, well, of course, I start to rationalize and I start to say, well, of course I'm going to think of the future because I'm the only one around here getting so much done, and all that ego starts to come in. And when people are sitting around doing a crossword puzzle and the house needs to be cleaned, I'm like mad because I'm thinking about what's later than what's right now. And so it just came up for me that I fall in love with my banana, even when it's harmful. And so that's what I got out of it, is the falling in love with our own demons.
Right. I love it. Right. And you nailed it, Sylvan. It's the rationalization that keeps it alive. And then also, in a way, we get to feel superior or better or have an ego. Like, look how productive I am. I'm so focused on the future. You're going to miss out. And so that's what keeps us attached to it. So let me ask you this. What are you concerned may happen if you don't focus on the future?
So, good question. I think what goes for me is that there's a lot to do. Like, I want to live 100 lives. There's a lot I want to do. And so I'm like, well, that's interesting and that's interesting. And I get caught up in what could be. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes I'm like a little bored with what is.
Got it. So there's almost like a fear that you're going to miss out on all the amazing opportunities in life because you want to experience them all.
Yeah.
And the ironic thing is you're not really experiencing that many.
Yeah, because I'm getting out of what I am experiencing to think about something else that I could be experiencing. Yeah.
And it's I love that you say that, because one of the things that Karen and I have learned, Sylvan and everybody on this call, is that most people, when they hold onto their banana, they're afraid of something, and what they realize is they already have it. Yeah. Right? So your example, I'm going to miss out on all these activities, then I'm actually missing out on all these activities, which is interesting, right? Yeah. I'm going to share another example in just a moment. So Kara, did you have anything for Sylvan before I pop her back?
Yeah, I think the thing is too, is when you focus on missing what's next, like, oh crap, I need to do X, Y, Z, whatever. It's that real being in right now that you're actually, like Jen just said, you're missing now. Mm-hmm. When you're focused on what's going to happen then. So if your perspective shifted and you were actually be where you are now, what would be different?
Is that a rhetorical or a real question?
That's a real question.
Okay. So, because I love it as a rhetorical question too. So what would be different if let me get the question right. If I, in the moment, felt that was the experience that I would fear missing, mm-hmm. How do I shift that perspective, and what would be different? So what would be different is that I wouldn't get out of it because I want to experience what it is. And so I think I could become more present. It's not a light switch because I have an anxiety about doing a lot, but I think it could ground me a bit in understanding that this too is an experience, just to kind of admire that someone's sitting and doing a crossword puzzle, or participate in it, or do my own, or, kind of just go with what is. And I think I could calibrate me. I'm not going to be a wholesale change, but it could calibrate me to appreciate more of the now.
And when you think about that, right, because we all, it's funny. I used to pride myself on being able to multitask, like a bazillion things at a time, right? I could drive a car, I could talk on 2 phones, I could put my golf shoes on, all at the same time, right? And what that actually meant was that I was not doing any of them completely. Mm-hmm. So all those things were divided. My energy and my attention was divided in a bunch of different directions. So I wasn't really any one place. Mm-hmm. And then when I started to pay attention a little bit more to the meditation / mindfulness / centering, whatever it is you want to call it, it was about be here now. And if you could be where you are, then that's where you have the most available energy. That's where you're the most engaged. But it takes practice to be here now, because we're in so many different places. And Jen, this reminds me of the be at Walmart.
Yeah, so this is interesting, Sylvia. You may appreciate this. So one day, Karen and I are at Walmart, and I'm just miserable, right? The people are bugging the F out of me.
We hate Walmart. I don't want to say we hate Walmart.
We love their low prices, right? However, just the experience, it was the people were bugging me. Everybody was moving slow. It's like they all would walk and then stop. And I'm like, And I was just like, God, I hate Walmart. Why are we in Walmart? I know we need shampoo, but we got to get out of here. And Kara turns to me and she's like, just be in Walmart. I'm like, what if you were just in Walmart? Yeah. I'm like, but I don't want to be in Walmart. She goes, but you're here. So she goes, just for this trip, the rest of the time, just be here. Don't be in the car. Don't be driving away. Don't be mentally checked out. Mm-hmm. And I did it. And so with every step of my foot, I'm like, I'm in Walmart. Here I am on the concrete of walking in Walmart. And what is this experience like? It didn't mean I loved it, but it got me out of wanting to be out of it. It was just hilarious. So now Karen and I do that all the time. We're like, just be in Walmart. Even if
I'm writing it down, be in Walmart.
And there's a step before be in Walmart, actually, though. And because there needed to be a little bit of a lead up to that. And I said, feel your feet. Can you feel your feet? And the big part about that is getting her out of Walmart, the chaos of Walmart, and focusing on her feet first. And then once you focus, and I'm like, can you feel your feet? Jen looked at me like I had 3,000 heads. Like, well, what the hell are you talking about? Can you feel your feet? Yeah, I can feel my feet. Okay, great. Walk and feel your feet. Now, that's where the next part of that conversation came in with the be in Walmart. Okay, now that you can feel your feet and you can be in that spot where you can be here now, how can you be in Walmart? So it's really focusing then on something that can pull you in and then allow you to be where you are.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you.
Interesting, I know. All right, I'm going to move you back on over. Thank you for raising your hand and coming over and playing with us. So the key thing is to realize is that a lot of times when we hold on to things that don't serve us, we're doing it to prevent something or to protect something or because it's all that we know. And just sort of like Sylvan was saying, is that, you know, with her not being in the moment because she wants more experiences, she's missing out on experiences. So Karen and I were doing this with a group of people, and we talk about the monkey, and we have different exercises that we do. And one of the gals' monkey, her banana, was guilt. And the reason that this came up was that her brother unexpectedly passed away, and certain family member, no, it wasn't guilt. It might have been anger. Anyway, her brother unexpectedly passed away. Certain family members did not go to the funeral, and she was pissed. She was angry. There was probably a little bit of guilt. And I said, so what were you so mad about? She goes, because family is the number one value I have, and the fact that my family couldn't be there for my family, I am so angry and so upset that I haven't talked to my family in 2 years. So there she is. Number one value, what she wants more than anything, is to feel connected to her family. And her banana of anger and upset was keeping her from her family. So her platform of why I'm mad at you actually prevented her from experiencing what she truly wanted more of in life. A lot of it also is that she holds on to the anger because she doesn't want to get hurt again. So if I keep them at bay, they can't hurt me or disappoint me or whatever. So I'm protecting myself from those emotions. What she realized that is she does love those people and she doesn't quite understand it, but how can she start to let go of the anger so that she can start doing relationships again? So that's what I mean by a lot of times our bananas keep us from what it is that we really want. So as you guys think about what you wrote down, what does that protect you from? So if you have FOMO because you're seeing what other people are doing in their business, right? And you are concerned with, I'm getting to that, watching other people's business thrive, right? What does that actually stop you from doing? What does it actually create more of? In what ways is that actually not working for you? What do you want to add in there, Kara?
So what I was just going to talk about a bit, Jen, was sometimes when you started to talk about the anger thing, it reminds me of a story that I briefly did, talk about with somebody holding on to guilt. And, what was happening is there was this woman, she's, great person, a lot of guilt around her dad's death. And her and her mom had, decided to put him in a nursing home because he was getting, he was just wasn't really doing well health-wise. And they thought that would be the best place for him for the best quality of life that they could have. And she wrestled with it and wrestled with it and wrestled with it. And what happened then was that he was in the nursing home and he fell. And then he subsequently, I don't remember, weeks, months, or whatever later, he actually died. And she was carrying so much guilt. And the big part about that was then, what did the guilt actually represent? And the interesting thing was it represented the connection with her dad. So what we did was we worked on how does she honor the relationship with her dad in a healthy way that makes her more fulfilled and happy about their relationship than actually the guilt of feeling bad for putting him there. And this was a huge aha and a big game changer for her, because it was the connection, and she wanted that connection to her dad. And the only way she thought she can get it was through guilt. But then when it was just like, oh my gosh, I get to honor his memory, I get to honor, our relationship and all these other things, that's when it changed for her.
I love it. So, Kara, it sounds like that in your coaching there, it's really about understanding what's beneath it.
Yeah.
What does the guilt give you? What are you, and the key thing is that what are you concerned with, worried about, or afraid, depending on your clients, right? What are you afraid will happen if you let go?
Yeah. And in this case, right, she was, her thing was she didn't want to lose the connection with her dad, but she was actually preventing the connection. You know, it was a funky connection that she didn't want, which was causing all sorts of conflict for her.
Yeah. And so that's a key coaching question is what is still holding onto the banana? You know it, drives you nuts. So what's the value of holding it on? What are you afraid will happen if you let it go? Right? So that's another thing, Charity, when you wrote in about the expectations, excellence, right? And you need to lower your expectations. Is that truly the part of the banana you need to let go of? Right? So it's in what ways does your desire for excellence get in your way? It could be procrastination. It could be that you don't share yourself out with the world. It could be that you don't, I'm making all this up because I don't know the answer. It could be that you're concerned about judgment from other people if it's not quite up. Is it excellence that maybe you want from others? So part of it is really understanding why is it a banana and what freedom is it preventing you from? So when we work with our clients, asking those types of questions. So when people just say, I want to get rid of guilt, well, great. So what do you need to do to get rid of that? Understand what is the relationship with the guilt. How does it serve you? How does it hurt you? How does it motivate you? How does it drain your energy? All of those kinds of things are going to be important to be able to do.
And a lot of times, too, Jen, what people want to do is they want to let go. And if they don't get the why they're holding on or what it represents, then that's going to show up somehow, some way, in some other aspect of their life. Because you got to figure out what's behind the holding on to what's it actually giving them.
Beautiful. So Charity, thank you so much for writing this in. She said, being excellent protects me from letting people down. So maybe it's letting go of letting people down. Exactly, right? So your banana is technically people pleasing. I'm sort of generalizing some of the words, but for our discussion purposes here. So part of that banana is you don't want to let people down. You don't want to disappoint. You want people to be happy. So there is something, though, that gives you if you don't let people down. And the way you think you won't let them down is by being excellent, right? So that's part of it is letting go of people pleasing, right? Go, Karen.
And I was going to say, too, what's the story that you've created about what it would say about you if you let people down? Because right there is going to be a story that you've created. And then the question is, how true is the story?
Yeah. Okay. So great. And she even writes, and the story would be that I'm not trustworthy. Right? So no wonder you hold on to it because probably you have a high value on trust, follow through, commitment. I'm making that up right now, but that would be my guess. And so to not be regarded as those things in a way would be disappointing for yourself. Right? So that makes sense on why that works. So if I don't let people down, then people are going to know I'm trustworthy. Where sometimes the truth is we let people down. I mean, people we don't even know are let down by us. If we cut someone off on the freeway, if we jump a line in front of them and then they're like, who do they think they are, right? Or I expect more out of people, sometimes not even realizing it. And then there's closer people that we can also let down. We can't please people all the time. So the key thing I always like to say if I was coaching this is where are you letting yourself down? Where are you not being trustworthy with yourself in order to accommodate other people? And that would be the interesting kind of dynamic that I would go with coaching if I was to be so bold. Karen.
Yeah, no, I got nothing else on that part.
Okay, good. So the other thing is to with letting go, people have to identify what is going to be the value to them. There's always going to be a risk, right? So in Charity's case, it's going to be a risk that people may be let down. But what would the value be if she could let go of that? What would that open up? What kind of freedom would be on the other side of it? How would your life change for the positive? So Karen was mentioning myself with expectations, and I often, it's interesting because I had a real challenge with it, but my bananas tend to be about expectations on how other people should behave. And so right, wrong, or indifferent, that causes me a lot of frustrations. They should communicate better. They should be more thoughtful. They should be this. They should be that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So the interesting thing was I started to really look at, what are you laughing at, Karen?
So you said that blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 right? Blah, blah, blah. So the interesting thing about that to me is that it's around expectations. And that where I struggled was, if I lower my expectations, am I letting myself down, right? So why can't I have high expectations? Well, the truth is that of other people, if I can get to a place of just, it is what it is with no expectations, I would in general be a happier person. But I had to look at my own expectations. So how do I communicate? What's important to me? How do I want to show up? Expectations that I should maybe ask questions of people who don't have the same regard about whatever it is. So maybe I need to ask more questions. So I had to really look at what is my relationship with expectations. And my concern was, if I lower my standards, could people just walk all over me? Would I always just, live a mediocre kind of life? Like, all those things come into play. And so I had to look at what's realistic. The only person I can have expectations from is myself. Right? Now, I can hope people are a certain way. I can communicate. I can say, hey, how do we take this to the next level? Or this is what I need and this is what's happening. I can have conversations about it, but I truly can't make other people fulfill my expectations.
And that's one of the big things about this too, right? With the whole control thing. It's that, how many people that are on this call, and you can, raise your hand, even though I can't see you, but how many people on this call have tried to change somebody else, right? Raise your hand. Hello. And keep your hand up if you were successful, right?
Oh. I've never seen people lower their hands on the thing. That looked funny.
Exactly, right? Bam! Falls right down because it doesn't freaking work. But how many times do we try to do it? So the thing that we have to pay attention to, and this is tied a little bit more into the control piece of it versus the letting go piece of it, but the only thing that we control is us. So with Jen talking about the expectation, the only thing that she could do different was change how she showed up to the interactions. And then and it's not saying that her standards aren't high, and it's not saying that she doesn't expect things, people to be a certain way, but she didn't get so attached to it because in this case, and I'm just going to throw this out here, Jen, is that you have most of your expectations are attached to communication, and communication is one of your top values. So it makes sense that you would think, well, hell, why isn't everything communications that important? And the communication that you communicate insanely well. The thing is that not everybody feels that that's important. So you set yourself up for disappointment when you expect other people to show up that way. I mean, and you guys can see it. Jen and I have an insanely different communication style. Whether it's the out loud processor, the inside processor thing, Jen will over communicate, I will under communicate. And we balance each other out, but we don't, it's funny though, but we understand each other's communication style, and that's why it works. Well, it works for a lot of reasons, but that's one of them.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm just thinking about it. The other day, there was something on my mind that was just totally bugging me. And so the next morning, I said, you know what, Karen, I just need to tell you this. And so I'm telling her and blah, 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 blah. And then she starts doing the, I can understand why that would, I'm like, no. All I need is for you to hear me. and I'm okay with it, and I totally just need it out of my body and out of my system, and you don't even have to do anything. And then I said my thing, and then it was gone, right? It wasn't even about Karen. It was about some other situation that was going on. But that's even funny, because even there I'm telling communication, this is what I need from you, and this is what I need now is nothing. Just hear me, let me talk about it, and then I'm going to go get coffee, and it's a wrap. So anyway, wasn't that funny?
It was.
It worked out. Okay, so someone types in and says, it strikes me the term high standards is a euphemism, hardly can say it, for judging others. What do you think, or even judging yourself? Completely, right? So I'm going to speak from my own experience with that. But yes, my high standards around communication is it gives me the ability to say, they suck, they're not that great at it, why can't people be more like me? So in a way, there is a judgment factor that goes there, and it's sort of what you said earlier, Sylvan, is there's an ego part of it as well. If I always compare people to how I think they should be, it causes me frustration. So my energy is spent on the frustration versus me actually doing something different. Claire typed in, I realize that when you set your expectations on others, you're imposing your judgments about how they should be, robbing them of any possibility of them having a good intention, making a mistake, and allowing them to go through the process of growing. No, actually, they still have that ability to do that. That we're not robbing them of anything. We may be robbing ourselves of witnessing it. Right? So when we have high expectations, we're not taking it away from other people, so to speak, but we may not see it as clearly ourselves.
And then we're just going to get disappointed.
Yeah. So a couple, yes, Rena says should always equal stress. So a couple of things. One is our clients may not sit there and go, you know, I really need to work on letting go of my anger towards my family, right? They may not use the terms letting go, but if it's bringing up a lot for them, or they say, I always feel this way, or, you know, I'm never in the moment. I'm very frustrated because of X, Y, and Z. Realize that in that moment, anytime we have anger, frustration, guilt, expectations, those are equivalent to a banana, right? So we don't have to tell the monkey story to everybody. But when you hear that, then it's what are you holding on to that's creating this frustration? What are you holding on to that has you feeling so guilty? What are you holding on to that is creating this conflict for you? Really being able then to understand what that is. And then, you know, the great questions is, what is it costing you? What's the benefit of staying here? What's the benefit of doing something different? Those things. Anything to add there, Kara?
No, I got nothing on that one, babe.
Okay. So I'm tying this in. So Wendy says, the fear of charging clients a certain amount has to do with the fact that I could not pay that amount because of current financial situation. But I think that really means I'm holding on to the idea that I'm not worth it. Is that right?
I would say, you tell me, is that right? Because you're asking yourself the question, Wendy, and you know that you want the answer. And you might not like what you know that answer is right now, but you know that something's got to change. So it's asking yourself, what needs to change? And if it is that inner critic, and it is the voice in your head that's an a-hole right now, what is it that you're setting yourself up for, right? So it's the, oh shit, if I ask for this, they're going to say no. So you're not asking anybody anything, which essentially means that they're saying no. So you got exactly what you're afraid of. Congratulations. How's that working for you? Right? It's not, I guess.
No, it's not.
Go dancing.
Okay, so I had an earlier message in our last couple minutes here that Claire said, how do you explain the purpose that guilt creates for people? So guilt is a very interesting emotion that we feel, right? So guilt is that something's in conflict, right? We should do something, but we're not doing it. So there's a couple of different ways that guilt comes into play. One is against what we think we should be doing. It also could be against what we want to be doing. And it can also be two values being in conflict with each other. So guilt can come out of a fear-based place or a conscious-based place, right? So if I have the two values of fun and well, no, I'll use the one I always use. So being authentic and then also not hurting people's feelings, right? So being a kind human being is a value I have, and also being authentic. Well, sometimes when I'm authentic, some people might get their feelings hurt. And sometimes to protect people's feelings, I may quiet my authenticity. Right? But what happens is it's when those two values, for example, rub up against each other, I do my little fist things, it creates friction. Authenticity, not hurting people's feelings. Like, I got to be true to myself. Oh, but I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. I feel so bad. I feel bad that they feel bad. And I feel bad I hurt their feelings. But I had to be true to myself. So it's that going back and forth between the values. The other thing with guilt also, it could be, to be a good person, I need to behave in this way, but it could be coming from a fear-based place, which could be from religious beliefs, parents, society that maybe we don't align with. And so the purpose that guilt gives us is the ability to say, what's in friction? How do I tease those apart? How do I change I should be doing this to I want to be doing this? That could be the friction point right there. It could be that how do I claim one value higher in this situation? So for me, like the authenticity and not hurting someone's feelings, I had to claim one at 51%. In this situation, which one's more important? What's 51% versus 49%? And it would be being authentic. So in this situation, letting go of the guilt. The next time I may not want to hurt somebody's feelings. That might be more important in that moment. So how to be able to do it. So those are a couple of different things that come to mind with that.
And I think a couple of great coaching questions, Jen, just to kind of like wrap this up is, thinking about having your clients like, okay, great. What's their banana, right? Finding out what are they really holding on to, finding out what is it that they really need to let go. And what are they afraid that's going to happen if they actually let go? And then drilling down to how true is that really? And then going into what needs to happen for them to be at peace? What needs to happen for them to be fulfilled? What needs to happen for them to be satisfied? So we want to get that this is the perspective shift that they're actually looking for. And then figuring out what are they willing to do? How committed are they to actually doing it, and then what kind of support do they need? So right there, bam, 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 that was essentially a whole coaching session. So, and what was that? Maybe 5 questions? Right there, you can go through a whole letting go exercise with people. And speaking of letting go, Jen, it is just about that time.
It is about that time to let go. So here's the skinny and the scoop. You guys are fantastic. I also want to let you know that the Coaches KickStart Club is going strong and is going to continue into 2018 and throughout the year. So don't forget to mark your calendars. Our next one is going to be January 17th, which is a Wednesday at noon Eastern time. And we just want to let you know that we are wishing you a Merry Christmas, a happy holiday, a fantastic end to 2017, and we are beyond blessed that you guys are a part of our lives, and we just really appreciate each and every one of you and your love for learning.
And we're thrilled to be here. So merry, and again, a magical, blessed new year to everybody, and we will see you in 2018.
All right, bye.